Now that we have your posture, let's get into basic hip work. So we're back on the feet and our foundation, and basic hip work for belly dance is always originating from your legs. Believe it or not, your hips don't move by themselves. We think they do, which is part of the really fun illusion of belly dance, but they don't move by themselves. They need a lot of help from your quadriceps, from your core. So first things first, let's learn the basic side-to-side move of your hips. This one's pretty easy. All we gotta do is push the hips outward towards the shoulder. So this brings me to one big lesson that I love to teach to my ladies. When we're looking at any belly dance movement, we wanna look at the shape or the way that line is taking that movement. So for example, this is a line side to side, right? But later, we're gonna be looking at diagonals and circles and other shapes. So when we do learn a move, just ask yourself what direction it's going, all right? Where is that movement pointing towards? Sometimes it's outwards, sometimes it's inwards. Back to that hip bump, right? Your feet are placed down on the floor. They're not moving. We're going to make sure that those heels don't lift off and that we keep those knees bouncy and that we move the knees back and forth so that we can push those hips out. Let's take it into a sharper movement by squeezing your glutes and pushing those hips out and marking that movement. 1 and 2, right? Push, 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 push. All right, so that's side to side, and these are nicknamed hip bumps because you're bumping, you're making it sharp. Now you don't have to make it sharp, but if you do want to make it sharp for some sort of drum solo or song, you squeeze those muscles. The next basic move is going to be the pelvic tilts up and down. I like to think that that pelvic floor is that bowl of water. If you can visualize that, it's going to help you out. So that pelvic floor, bowl of water, will also need awareness of your abs and your tailbone, so this whole area. And we're going to tilt that pelvic floor, those hip joints, upwards and squeeze that core inwards towards your spine. That tailbone drops down. As much as you can, flatten that back, not to the point that you're pressing your hips forward to your toes. Remember from video number 1, try and keep your balance from the ball joints to your heels so that when we do tilt that pelvic floor up, we don't also press forward. So we tilt it up, then we drop that water down, tilting the tailbone upwards. Arms out, and we go up and down, in and out. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Trying not to move the upper body as best as you can. And how do we do that? We try and hold the shoulder blades together so that you have some sort of strength, some sort of anchor on the top of your body so that the arms don't cave in or open with you. And you learn how to control that pelvic floor up and down. So direction is upwards and downwards. Some people like to think of it as in and out. Same thing, I think. Not too much of a difference, up and down or in and out. The only thing about the in and out that I see could happen is that we think that it's just the belly popping in and out, where it's really the full pelvis going up and down, moving from your spine, your lower back. 1 and 2. Let's make it sharp. 1, 2, 1, 2. In other words, we're squeezing your lower abdominals so that you can tilt that pelvic floor and make a small, sharp movement. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now that we move the pelvic floor up and down, I'm gonna teach you the hip isolations on the side, up and down too. This is another important foundation move that you're gonna need to know in your first belly dance class. we've got your basic stance, right? Feet below, bouncy knees, making sure that that core is engaged. We are going to imagine the bones on the side right here and connect those bones all the way to your shoulders, all right? Straight line. So we're gonna start with that right side. That right side is going to come up to the shoulder. How's it gonna happen? Your knees. So, arms up, and we're going to straighten that right knee, and that right hip is gonna come up, and then at the same time, you're gonna bend that left knee so that that left hip can drop down. But you're gonna keep that tailbone tucked in because we want that straight line, right? Alternate. Bend the right knee, straighten the left, and that left hip will go up to your shoulder. So let's use the upward counts. So we're gonna do this movement on the up. That's what that means. We're gonna start on the right side on count 1 going up, and then on the left side, count 2 going up. We teeter-totter this movement here. Pelvis goes up and up. 1 and 2. It's super similar to the hip bumps, except the direction of the hip bumps is outward. The direction of this movement is up and down. It's vertical. So the hip bumps were horizontal, side to side. These are vertical, up and down. They're called piston hips, like the machinery, a piston, up and down. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Might be easy, might help you out with this visualization. So we're gonna make this sharp, okay? Now when that right hip goes up, you're gonna squeeze your tush on the right side. So we go squeeze on the right, squeeze on the left, squeeze on the right, squeeze on the left. We go 1 and 2, 1 and 2, up, 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 up. If you feel your obliques and your core helping you out, excellent, because we do have to keep this nice and controlled so our chest doesn't teeter-totter with us. Boom, 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 boom. Yes. I'm gonna challenge you. You're gonna go smaller, faster. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Squeeze, 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 and let it go.